Let's get more now on our top story. We want to take a closer look at what's triggered the latest tension between Israelis and Palestinians. Well, they've been growing over access to the Al-Aqsa compound, which contains important holy sites for both Muslims and Jews, though only Muslims are allowed to pray at the mosque there. Well, there's been a new push by Israeli activists to change that. They want prayer rights. Moshe Feiglin, a politician from Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party, visited the site in early November. Netanyahu has been pushing back against right-wing politicians like Feiglin who want restrictions at the site lifted. He insists there will be no change in the site's status quo. Well, Gil Hoffman is the chief political correspondent for the Jerusalem Post. Joins me now live from Jerusalem. Thank you for coming. Good to have you with us. First of all, how much are election politics playing into this and pressuring Netanyahu to pursue harsher and harsher policies?
None. Netanyahu is in the middle of a Likud primary in which the chances of him losing are zero. Moshe Feiglin has run against him 4 times. He's never gotten more than 5% of the vote. In the Knesset, there are 120 members of Knesset. The number who want to allow Jews to pray on the Temple Mount at this time is 3. There's no pressure at all, actually. It has nothing to do with politics. The people of Israel are united in having the continued status quo, which is by definition discriminatory. Only Muslims can pray in the holiest site for Jews. Only Muslims. If a Jew will go on the Temple Mount, he will be arrested. And this policy of discrimination in Israel, which I know Al Jazeera reports about discrimination in Israel a lot, there's discrimination against Jews, has the overwhelming support of the people of Israel and the members of parliament.
Jews are allowed to pray at the Western Wailing Wall. Why do you feel it's discrimination if they're not allowed to go, as some would like to do, some of these groups like Gush Emunim, Temple Institute, that actually like to remove that mosque, demolish the Qubbat al-Sakhra and Al-Aqsa mosques and go and pray where the mosques once were, or even build a third Jewish temple?
You know, there are a lot of people who have views of what should happen when the Messiah will come. The Messiah hasn't come, unfortunately. When the Messiah will come, there'll be peace in the Middle East, and a lot of things will happen that will be very nice that you and I can agree on as being
sorry,
good
Mr. Hoffman,
things.
these groups are
it's
campaigning
really not
for it
now.
for now. These groups are not following the sort of traditional Jewish position of waiting for the Messiah. There are groups that want to see this happen now.
Okay, and they're very fringe, and they have no real support. And when I wrote about a poll about how Israelis believe the government should react to the terror attacks that there have been, the number one answer was restart peace talks. That's where the people of Israel are, and I understand why Al Jazeera might want to give more of a voice to a fringe group and make them sound legitimate, but they're not.
Not to go after fringe groups, let's talk about, for example, what Ban Ki-moon, I don't think he's exactly on the fringe, has said, the Secretary General of the United Nations in October the 12th. He said, quote, "We must not lose sight of the root causes of the recent hostilities. A restrictive occupation that has lasted almost half a century, the continued denial of Palestinian rights." Do you see a link between the occupation and the cycle of violence which we are witnessing?
Absolutely. And but just Ban Ki-moon's math is a little bit off, because the occupation began in 1948 by Jordan when it illegally seized control of Jerusalem and prevented Jews from entering any of their holy sites in Jerusalem. Any Jew who would try to enter would be shot. Since 1967, Jews, Christians, and Muslims can pray in Jerusalem after the liberation. And so Ban Ki-moon is a little bit off tape, and it has nothing to do with that. I can tell you what's caused the wave of violence, which is international organizations that have discouraged the Palestinians from returning to the negotiating table. When they broke off the peace talks after 9 months, and instead of making a deal with Israel, made a deal with Hamas, did the world condemn them for that? Did the world abide by the decisions that have been made before by the quartet that includes the United Nations, which says that the world won't recognize a unity government by the Palestinians unless the Hamas and the entire Palestinian government renounce terror attacks and accept all the peace agreements that there have been in the past? No. They recognized it. They acted as if it was a good thing that the moderate Palestinian leaders made a deal with Hamas. And then it all blew up in their face when the Hamas went and kidnapped 3 Israeli children and started a war in Gaza. So it's people like Ban Ki-moon that are responsible for Jewish and Arab deaths that need to do more to bring the Palestinians back to the table and have peace negotiations and not unilateral steps that make things harder for everyone.
All right, we'll leave it for you as the judge if Ban Ki-moon and the world is off on that one. Thanks so much, Gil Hoffman.